All right, e-cargo bike fans, I present to you the second generation of the Swoop from Xtracycle. Its name comes from the step-through swooping frame there. They have a few other models, so check those out. Similar in offerings, but enough differences that they felt they need to make some different models. The key difference of the 2.0, the second generation of the Swoop, is it comes in two variations. This is the Class 3 variation with a 28 mile per hour pedal assist max, and it also comes in a Class 1 variation, also pedal assist only, but only up to 20 miles per hour. It's about a $500 difference there to get the extra. Other than that, slight variations like the Class 3 has a 10 cog cassette. The Class 2 or Class 1 has a 11 cog cassette. We're not going to get too nitty gritty in the specs. All that's on the Xtracycle website. So if you really want to dive into it, check it out there. It came out in end of November, early December of 2023. We're now at the end of January, so we've had the bike about 2 months, only about 120 miles on it because it gets cold here in Colorado, and we had a really cold stint. But we have discovered that after riding and testing a lot of other e-cargo bikes, this is our favorite. We're going to walk through and around the bike. I'm going to delve into some of the things that we love about it, what makes it a great e-bike, and try to help justify the $5,000-ish price tag that's on this bike. So it's a significant investment, but with the SRAM components and really high quality components all around, and the build and the ride quality, and the fact that it could, if not replace a car, very much supplement car use, might be worth it for you. So your choice, but I'll walk you around to see what we have going on. The configuration that we have, I've got a 6 and a 9-year-old for most of the time that she just turned 10, but so we went with the half Hooptie. There's quite a lot of rear cargo configurations that Xtracycle offers, and that's certainly one of the advantages that the brand provides. And then the stuff that comes with the bike, there's like the U-tubes on the bottom, the foot rests, as well as the cargo bag on the side there is included with the bike. Not included is the half Hooptie, the seat pads, and then the front rack and front bag, but we'll delve into that. So, and then we'll point out a few differences along the way. All right, so first up, we'll start from the rear and work our way forward. Looking at our rear configuration, what's included, as I mentioned, are these side bags here, which fold up really nicely to get out of the way when you don't need them. They also serve as a protector from the spinning wheels. You can kind of see what it looks like there without one of those on the side. So I've got this one here covering up the cogs there. It just disconnects like this. And then you would just reconnect these straps across to provide a little cargo space. Of course, you're competing with leg room at that point. So that's kind of a nice feature that it tucks away the way it does. These U-tubes, these bars also come with the bike. So you'll have that and these guys. Then you get to choose your configuration up here. They have, this is the half Hooptie with the opening on the side so the kids can get in and out of there. When the kids are bigger, that's really nice because when they're climbing onto the bike, they're not having to climb up and over and get really high, which is higher center of gravity, which is just more balance issues on that. We have 2 of the Magic Carpet seat pads here that are bent up to provide backrest on that. Xtracycle talks about having a, being able to fit 3 kids in there. And when they're small, that can work. Mine are kind of borderline on that. And you add that wearing some backpacks, and that gets to be a little tight. And of course, with that padding there, is going to eat up some of that. But it is one of the longest cargo frames that we've seen at 30 inches. So I feel like we can afford to have that extra space there. The whole hoopty obviously goes all the way around, and then on both sides of the full hoopty you will always have this double ring style railing going on. It's a great point of confidence that kids' hands holding on here will be protected from something bumping on the side or something like that. So nice vote of confidence there. And then they've got some nice tape on there. One little thing that we've had to watch out for is these guys, either the kids like to play with it or they bump into it and it pops out. So we're figuring how to help manage that tape a little better. One of the other things about the half hoopty system handlebars is they don't tighten it. I mean, they are secure in there. So my confidence after kind of looking into this is restored, but that little wobble at first was like a little cautionary. All right, so remove the bag here so we can see the drivetrain a little bit better. One thing I noticed while riding this bike that's kind of like a nice to know after you've spent some money on a bike like this. Primarily e-bikes have been using mountain biking drivetrain components because of the burliness of it. And Shimano just came out with, I think it's called Link Glide. Here, when I'm riding and I'm in full power mode, because why not, the chain kind of clunks as it moves because it actually jumps or it falls from one ring to the other. And it sounds loudish to me. It's not a big deal, but the new technology and the configuration of the cassette, the Link Glide, allows the chain to be on 2 rings at once. So it's a much smoother move. And a big part of why it's as loud as it is to me when you're in full power is just a lot of power and torque in the system as you're shifting and moving the chain up and down the cassette there. So just a little heads up there, but I'm guessing that it'll probably be compatible, and if you're really bothered by it, you could swap it out and make it quieter. But yeah, just heads up there on the drivetrain system there. Also, it's geared for climbing and weight capacity, so being able to hold a lot. I think it's like 470 pounds is what the whole system can hold. We barely hit 300 pounds between myself and the kids on here, so we're not nearly at full capacity. But what I can't do is get to 28 miles per hour on the flats without spinning my legs like crazy to try and get to that kind of speed. Fortunately, the front drivetrain is a 42 tooth wheel with a 4-bolt configuration on there. Could be pretty easy to upgrade that to a 46 or 48 tooth wheel to just change the gearing a little bit so that you can push all the way to that full power. The battery, while we're here, sits behind here. Now, the previous model of the Swoop had the charging outlet back here behind the chain. So if you're a 1.0 version user, it's probably a slight annoyance. And then, getting this battery out of there is a bit of a maze. So we are able now, the charging is on the other side. I'll show you more of that in a minute when I flip the bike over. But much easier to get the charger plugged into the bike. The kickstand is great, super stable, 2-legged kickstand. It's got a spring loaded, so if I just lift it up, that'll come up. With these boots, getting in there to put the kickstand down isn't a problem. I do find though that with winter boots, the toe is a little fatter. It's a little harder to get in there. So just a little bit of help for winter riding and winter attire would be nice on the kickstand. Looking at the seat, plenty comfortable, stock seat included. The other thing that I really appreciate about cargo bikes, brands that include a little place to grab behind the seat here, just a little notch for your fingers so it's comfortable as you're parking the bike. You sometimes have to pick it up and move it around. The bike's just over 60 pounds in total, which is on the light side of a cargo bike, so relatively easy to move around. The seat post does require a 5mm hex wrench to make adjustments. Just kind of one of those indicators that shows, you know, premium pricing for the bike. A lot of that cost is going into components and other factors, whereas, you know, some bikes offer a quick adjust on here, either a flip lock or even a quick handle adjustment. Obviously not the case here. In our case, my wife being 5'9" and me almost 6 feet tall, we were actually able to kind of set and forget and share this size for the two of us getting the kids around. But yeah, generally soft, comfortable seat, and then good geometry in the seating area. All right, looking at the front of the bike, as I mentioned, the front rack and the bag called the Porter Pack is accessories. They're optional, so they don't come with the base purchase of the bike. The Porter Pack is a magnetic top, roll top enclosure. Stands up nice and tall. I've stacked 3 kids' backpacks in here before, a pot of chili in the crock pot to go to a potluck with friends. It's got pockets on the sides here, which I haven't really used a whole lot. I don't want to forget things in there. And then rolls back down with a clip closure up here. 2 little just niggling things for me on this. If I don't want to use the clip, like for example, this bag, you can kind of roll in the top into itself and just kind of make it a more of a basket style. Maybe that's in there. But if you're out here and I just want to roll it up or close it really quick, and I either don't want to or forget to clip this, this is now dangling by a spinning wheel. Even though the tire's moving forward on the top like this to kick it away, I'm just not excited about static parts near dynamic parts. The other thing is, with this clip so close up to here, it's a little tight with all the cables. I'm guessing if it was reversed, you wouldn't be able to cinch it down quite as easily. So there's also some pockets back here, which I don't feel like the cables and the circumstance makes it easy for me to use. And then the front here has a removable Velcro badge if you want to put your own logo or a flag or something on there. While we're up here, we'll look at the lights, which are included. They come on the aluminum fenders. That's all part of the bike package there. 230 lumens. Not the best time of day to illustrate that, but it is sort of 4-way adjustable, so you can kind of aim it up and down, get it on the path or shining out as far as you like. The one beef I have though with it is the rear light does not follow the brakes, so you don't get like a brighter light like you would. A little safety factor that I think is kind of nice. I see that on some existing models of e-bikes and e-cargo bikes. You also just get one steady, constant light on the rear light. You don't get any flashing modes or strobes or anything like that for increased visibility. The Xtracycle does not have built-in, even though there's power and there's a battery there, is a little horn. Some of them have little electronic horns. Obviously, you can add a bell, you can add a horn. Easy to add that on, and there's room here in the cockpit for that. Very comfortable geometry, nice width on the handlebars. The brakes are 4-piston pneumatic brakes, so disc brakes, so very smooth operation on the front and rear brakes, and they've proven to handle loads on steep hills for long descents. I really appreciate the simplicity of the controller here for the e-assist, long hold, simple button all by itself up here on top, so very easy to do with gloves, and then large buttons for the assist levels. There's only 3, which I really appreciate. The 5s, I always go to full power, so I'm always having to click up anyway. It does not remember what you used last, so it always starts at 0. And then a selector here to move between estimated range remaining according to, how much power you're putting into it. The trip meter distance, if you want to track that, and then the odometer to know your full mileage. And then a very simple light button down here because the lights come with it and are integrated in it and are on the frame there. So that's nice. And then shifter over here. We'll have a closer look at the battery. Like I mentioned, the motor is different on the Class 1 version. It's the EP8. This is the EP6 from Shimano, the cargo version. And then the charging port is back here, flips open. And while they figured out to move it from the chain side to this side, they didn't figure out to maybe have the cable move away from the interference of this portion of the frame. So that plugs into there to charge up. So that would be one little change I would make. Well, if I use this, my preference from another brand that of e-bike is just a simple round one where you could almost do it without looking, and it wouldn't matter if there was a frame in the way. You could just plug it in wherever you wanted. So there's that. The other thing that is new on the second generation here versus the first, you had to switch on the battery each time. Now there's a switch here, but that's just to be able to check and see what the charge is. You can switch it on and off from the controller up here and not have to reach down and muck around with the battery. So there you go. That's the hot take on the Xtracycle Swoop second version, second generation of the Swoop. I think the thing I hadn't mentioned yet is the beauty of the 26-inch front tire and the 20-inch rear tire. Obviously, the rear tire to keep the center of gravity of your load low. Center of gravity low is important for balance and ride quality and safety. But having the bigger tire up front is just a much more pleasant experience. Riding the Swoop 2.0 is like riding a bike that has a little bit of help with the motor, mid-drive motor there. A lot of other e-cargo bikes that have the throttle, it really feels like a moped with pedals, and you forget to shift or whatever. You get used to whatever you buy and are using a lot of, but from going from one brand to another, riding the Xtracycle has been the most bike-like experience. Thanks for watching. Continue the discussion in the comments below. Love to hear what you love, what you don't like, what I missed, what you're looking for in an e-cargo bike, and I'll see you there.